Hello, everybody. Welcome to DB's Download. This is a brand new episode format that we're trying, so let us know what you think. TBD. I'm really excited about this. I recently wrote an article for Rewired News Group, and it's titled "Baby Making Sex Can Be Some of the Worst Sex People Have." And I'm 32, going to be 33 this year. A lot of my friends are talking about making babies and how it's not as picturesque as we might think that it is. And I wanted to basically put that conversation behind the scenes that I was having with friends into an article so that hopefully people can feel like their story is out there and they feel like they relate to it and they're not alone. And so I ended up interviewing two amazing experts who have been on the podcast before, Dr. Lex Brown James and Dr. Lori Mintz, and then three parents to hear what was your experience like having baby making sex. And for the experts, like what do their clients say? What do people think about it? Is it super joyful and really connective, or is it stressful and hard? And what does that look like? And so that's why I wrote this piece. And this episode is me reading the piece. If you're interested, I worked really hard on this and just feel really proud of it. And so that's why I wanted to make a full episode about it. And if you're interested in hearing more about what I'm writing and what I'm reading and thinking about and watching, we actually have a little section called DB's Download in our Substack, in our newsletter. So twice a month, you can get sex ed content in your inbox and also hear what I'm thinking about and feeling and things that are coming up for me in my personal world. So make sure you check us out on Substack at Sex Ed with DB if you're interested in checking that out and hearing more from me and from my team. And so, yeah, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and read this article. Flicking the bean, jilling off, menage a moi. All of these are creative and hilarious ways to say masturbation. For 21 days, I embarked on what started as a personal masturbation experiment with one of my all-time favorite vibes, the magic wand. The goal? To answer one burning question. What is the impact of daily magic wand use on my health, wellness, and sexual experiences compared to regular sexual activity and no sexual activity? Spoiler alert, the results were so surprising they inspired me and the Magic Wand team to turn this experiment into a full-fledged scientific study. Now, 1,000 other people have experienced how consistent self-pleasure affects everything from mental health to sexual satisfaction. Want to see the results from the study? Head to magicwandstudy.com to check it out. Let's talk about a lube I absolutely love, Uberlube. It's silky, long-lasting, and makes sex better for everyone by reducing friction and increasing pleasure, whether solo or with a partner. It's body and condom-friendly, scent-free, and never sticky. Plus, it's recommended by doctors and designed with sensitive skin in mind. Want to try it? Use code SEXEDWITHDB for 10% off at uberlube.com and see why I keep coming back to it. Feeling like you and your partner are in a bit of a bedroom rut? Been there. What helped? A little Lion's Den adventure. Whether you're into toys, massage oils, or sexy games, Lion's Den has everything to help couples connect in fun, low-pressure ways. Shopping together can be half the fun. Visit lionsden.com and use code SEXEDWITHDB and get 15% off your purchase. Trust me, date night just got way more interesting. All right, so the title of this article is Baby Making Sex Can Be, quote, some of the worst sex people have. Trying to get pregnant is a journey, and for many couples, not always a smooth ride. Picture this. Your alarm goes off at 7:30 a.m. You walk the dog, shave your legs, doom scroll the headlines, and check your calendar. 6 meetings, an exercise class, and dinner with a friend. Somewhere in there, you still need to call your mom and return a package. But also, today may just be the crucial 12 to 24 hour window when you're ovulating. You and your partner have been trying to get pregnant for 5 months, and so far, no plus sign. You have to find some time today to fit it in, pun intended. It doesn't matter how busy you are, what's happening in the world, or whether you're in the mood. The period tracker says go. Trying to conceive involves a lot of very unsexy sex, especially for heterosexual cisgender couples grappling with gender norms and expectations that can make this process particularly tough on the partner with a uterus. And according to licensed psychologist and certified sex therapist Dr. Lori Mintz, this phase is marked by less connection between partners, performance anxiety, and immense pressure. Baby making sex, Mintz said, is, quote, some of the worst sex people have. How pregnancy actually happens. Most of us were fed the fear by our gym teacher, probably, that we'll automatically get pregnant the first time we have unprotected, penetrative vaginal sex. While this is possible, many people who want a baby don't get pregnant that easily. Couples where one partner has a uterus and the other partner has a penis may conceive by chance if they happen to have vaginal intercourse around the time of ovulation. That is, the brief window during the menstrual cycle when one of the ovaries releases an egg that may be fertilized by a sperm in the fallopian tube. Roughly 42% of US pregnancies are unplanned. Rarely, pregnancies can happen when sperm ends up near the vagina without intercourse actually happening. Pairings with people who don't identify as cisgender or heterosexual may face additional barriers to getting pregnant. They may do intrauterine insemination, aka IUI, in vitro fertilization, aka IVF, use a surrogate, or choose to adopt or foster in order to build a family. If you don't get pregnant by chance, the next step likely requires intensive planning. Many conceive by tracking their cycles in apps or on old school calendars and having vaginal penetrative sex when ovulation is predicted. In cis-het couples, this scheduling work typically falls on the woman, according to licensed marriage and family therapist and certified sexuality educator Dr. Lex Brown James. She's the one doing the tracking, having to be so in tune with her body, and there's a fear that's held. Is my period coming? A constant checking of, are my breasts sore? And a persistent questioning of the body's function, Dr. Brown James said. Because sperm can live in the body for up to 5 days, the best chances of conceiving are the days leading up to ovulation. For many couples, this fertile window is when baby-making sex officially clocks in as a calendar event, complete with mental math on how many romps count as quote-unquote optimal before the buzzer. While it can take couples many months to conceive successfully, most people who want to get pregnant do eventually get that positive test. 80% of people with uteruses who are having vaginal intercourse regularly and aren't using birth control will get pregnant within 6 months, data from the Cleveland Clinic shows. But is that half a year of passion, connection, and intimacy for couples? Far from it. IVF plans, unexpected twists. Zoya is a 36-year-old Bay Area native who runs her own business. Zoya is not her real name. The people who invited Rewire News Group into their bedroom, so to speak, spoke on condition of anonymity. She married her husband Scott in 2022 after 4 years of dating. They decided they wanted to get pregnant soon after the wedding. It took 10 months. The couple first tried ovulation tracking. There were moments of silliness and levity during the first 4 months, Zoya said, but sex also became a bit of a group project, which made it less intimate. As Dr. Mintz explained, it doesn't matter if it's a good time or not. There is an urgency and demand associated with sex during this time. This does not make for the best playful, erotic sexual encounter. Zoya agreed. We wanted there to be romance and to feel relaxed, but it's hard to do that. It's hard to shut your brain off, she said. After trying for 4 months to get pregnant without success, Zoya and Scott heeded a friend's advice to pursue IVF. In a sense, they were lucky. Zoya's health benefits made this option financially feasible. In the US, a single cycle of IVF can cost as much as $30,000. But IVF isn't a breeze. Zoya spent 3 months giving herself daily shots, dealing with bloating and hormonal shifts, and fearing going under general anesthesia for the egg retrieval process. Initially, it was really scary. Scary to do the injection, Zoya said. And then you get used to it. It was the first time I was sacrificing my body and my lifestyle, like drinking wine socially, for something bigger than me. Dr. Brown James, who also went through IVF to conceive her third child, described the ordeal as miserable. The physical toll of the retrieval process, possible nerve damage from injections, and her experience on hormones was brutal. I couldn't have gone through that process again, Brown James said. Ultimately, Zoya and Scott didn't have to undertake the entire IVF process. 1 month before they were planning to do the embryo transfer, Zoya realized it had been a while since she got her period. A pregnancy test came back positive. They now have an 11-month-old baby girl. All in all, I'm grateful we didn't struggle with natural fertility issues, Zoya said. But it was still a slog to go through 2 cycles of egg retrievals. And the pregnancy process isn't always smooth, even after a couple manages to conceive. When joy turns to grief and back again. The first month Aurora and her husband Ben, not their real names, tried to conceive, they weren't trying very hard. I had gone off the pill and we stopped using condoms, but I wasn't tracking anything in any meaningful way, said Aurora, a 33-year-old journalist who lives in New York City. Given that, both Aurora and Ben were surprised that they felt disappointed when Aurora got her period. This feeling was echoed by everyone interviewed for this story, from experts talking about their clients to moms reflecting on their conception journeys. Couples are disappointed when conception doesn't happen for them, even after only 1 month of trying. So Aurora and Ben tried again in earnest that next month, and they got pregnant. For 10 days, the couple dreamed, planned, and celebrated their future as a family. Then she felt her pregnancy symptoms cease. My boobs stopped being sore, and I just knew I wasn't pregnant anymore, Aurora said. I could feel it. Aurora's OBGYN confirmed the worst. The gestational sac was empty. The pregnancy wasn't progressing. It was horrible, Aurora said. We only told family and a few close friends. There were days we would just lay in bed and cry together. Up to 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage every year. Still, Aurora felt like she failed in some way. Even though she knew it wasn't logical, the question of, am I not fit to parent, came into her mind. 6 months later, the couple started to try again. The second month of baby-making sex resulted in a viable pregnancy and a healthy baby girl. Aurora and Ben wouldn't do anything differently, they say, but their emotional and anxiety-inducing journey was not one they could have seen coming. Most people don't realize how much time, energy, and emotional labor goes into trying to conceive. It's a lot, Dr. Mintz said. These are way less than ideal circumstances. Sex should never be goal-oriented, and the focus should be on pleasure and not orgasm. More after the break. Do you get awful period cramps like I do? You are not alone. About 30% of menstruating people experience pain so severe it disrupts their daily lives, and yet we still know shockingly little about where that pain comes from or how to treat it. On the podcast Cramped, my friend and host Kate Helen Downey shares her story of living with death cramps for over 20 years. Pain so intense it sent her to the ER, made her pass out, and left her with no answers. Until now. And I just have to say, this podcast is incredible. It is so well done, it's smart, it's powerful, and it's honestly very long overdue. In season 1, Kate finally got a diagnosis, a treatment plan, and real clarity about the science behind period pain. Now in season 1.5, she's answering listeners' questions and talking to the experts we all should have access to. If you've ever felt dismissed, misdiagnosed, or just incredibly over being told to, quote, just take Advil, Cramped is the podcast for you. Listen to Cramped wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's hang out.
Hi guys, welcome back to Let's Hang Out, a podcast that's worth at least 5 more points on your gay card.
And we validate at the end of the episode. A podcast where 2 lesbians talk about stuff.
A podcast about all things lesbian with your 2 lovely lesbian hosts. A podcast where you get to hang out with 2 lesbians. Welcome to Let's Hang Out, a podcast that's here, it's queer, and it's full of Christmas cheer.
Dude, you're stealing my line.
Oh, I stole your line. Hey guys, welcome to Let's Hang Out, a podcast hosted by 2 lesbian wankers. A podcast that is bursting at the seams with queer. A podcast hosted by 2 living, breathing lesbians.
I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee.
And we're the co-hosts of Let's Hang Out, a lesbian podcast. Well, you get the idea.
If you're looking for more lesbians in your life, check us out wherever you listen to podcasts.
And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
All right, welcome back. We are now at the orgasm gap. Prioritizing pleasure sounds nice, but it can feel impossible during baby-making sex. In a cishet couple, it can unintentionally reinforce gender norms already seen in the orgasm gap. Because sperm is necessary for conception every time a sexual encounter happens, The woman's climax can become gratuitous. The orgasm gap, by the way, is less of a thing for lesbian couples who are more likely to use toys and prioritize each other's pleasure, and it's even less of a thing for gay male couples. It's also challenging to focus on pleasure when you're spending more money than you thought you would while trying to conceive. Not only are you spending money on doctor's appointments and fertility tests, but you're driving back and forth to appointments, taking time off work, and buying pregnancy tests, ovulation tests, and other products, Dr. Brown James said. There are also countless products on the market to track cervical fluid and basal body temperature, which can cost hundreds of dollars. And this is just within the first year of trying, the time period considered quote unquote normal for couples under 40. The 15% of couples who don't get pregnant within 12 months are categorized as quote unquote infertile. What happens then? In monogamous, cisgendered straight couples, oftentimes the woman is presumed to be the one with the problem since she is the one that isn't getting pregnant, Dr. Brown James explained. We assume something's wrong with the woman's ovulation or her body rather than testing the man's sperm. Of the 15% of quote unquote infertile couples in the US who have trouble conceiving, over half of the time there is a male infertility issue, data from Yale Medicine shows. This pressure for both people in the couple can take a toll, causing stress and overwhelm. It can feel isolating and very lonely. It's no wonder why trying to conceive is a challenging time for so many couples. Sex, typically considered to be an activity done for pleasure, can become filled with urgency and stress. Baby making in queer couples. This process looked different for Jess, a 43-year-old queer femme, and her partner Val. Together, the couple, who, like others, requested pseudonyms to share their story, have a 10-year-old child and a blended family. The couple didn't feel a lot of pressure around the sex they were having while trying to conceive. If anything, it made us feel more connected because it felt sacred, Jess said. They used the Tantus Pop squirting dildo, which mimics ejaculation. It felt novel and really different, Jess explained. We were having sex 3 mornings in a row before going into work while our friend was coming from across town to give us his semen. It was very different from most people's experiences. But it wasn't all fun for Jess either. The first time she got pregnant, she miscarried. The couple tried again, using the same dildo, 2 cycles later and got pregnant with their child. She remembers having some of the best sex she had ever had during pregnancy. I felt very in my body and in my purpose, Jess said. Couples who aren't feeling such connection and pleasure during this potentially wild chapter of life should talk about it, Dr. Mintz said. They need to ask, how is this impacting our sex life? They can get closer by acknowledging this is pressured and asking, how can we do things differently? For couples in the throes of baby-making sex, Dr. Mintz advised slowing down, taking your time, incorporating sex toys, and remembering that your connection with your partner is worth investing in. You're, quote, doing this for the big picture of having a baby, she said. Even so, sex can be playful. All right, that was my baby making sex article. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that if you are going through this process or you know someone going through this process, that you can send it along and that it's helpful and makes people feel more informed and less alone. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Please email me at sexedwithdb@gmail.com to share your feelings and how that felt. And yeah, I would just absolutely love to hear from you and appreciate you listening and tuning into this new format of DB's Download. So that's all for now. Really looking forward to talking to you all next week. We have a lot of great episodes coming up, so stay tuned. And yeah, love y'all.